Yama everybody, hi, I'm Tamara, I'm the founder of Wonkylands Counselling. Thank you for coming. Today we will be talking about what to do when the Department for Child Protection visits you here in South Australia. So first off, we found this brochure. It was at Salisbury Department for Child Protection office, and we're going to talk about this brochure today in a bit more detail. So firstly, the brochure mentions that their job is actually to keep children and young people safe and to support families to do that as well. It also mentions powers. So these are legislative powers that come from the Children and Young People Safety Act 2017. This act is actually available on the internet. So if you want to, you can download it or you can view it for free. And you can easily do a search function as well if you're looking for certain words or phrases. So why has a child protection officer visited me? So they do go through and explain that if there are concerns around child safety, that someone will be sent out to have a chat with you. And if your children are old enough, they'll talk to them as well. In South Australia, the Child Abuse Report Line is an internal part of the Department for Child Protection. This means that anybody who makes a report to the Child Abuse Report Line can know and be sure that their concern will go straight to the Department for Child Protection. The next section of this brochure outlines what child protection officers do. It says that a child protection officer should be carrying an identification card. Now you have the right to ask them to see this card and just verify that they are who they say they are. Once you've verified the identification of the child protection officer, it's important to understand that they do have a job to do. So it's their job to make sure children and young people are safe under that legislative act. So there are fines that do apply if you are not compliant and you do hinder or obstruct an investigation, and these fines can be up to $10,000. They've also dot pointed some of the powers that were mentioned earlier in the brochure. So things like entering a house to inspect it, using reasonable force to get into any part of your property, taking photos, audio recordings, videos, also taking passports in certain situations, requiring information from teachers, childcare workers, doctors, that sort of thing, asking your name, address, identification if they also suspect that you're committing an offence under the Act, and give you reasonable directions for a purpose related to administration, operation and enforcement of the Act. They acknowledge that the best place for children and young people to be is with their family and their community. They look at doing this as a partnership with you, and sometimes that partnership means there might be assessments or meetings that are part of the process, and these assessments and meetings can look different for every family depending on what the concerns are. The brochure also talks about what happens when a child is removed from your care. This is a really triggering topic, so just be kind to yourself while you're listening to this. If a child is removed from your care, the department will have custody of your child for a maximum of 5 business days. During this time, they'll be living in what they call out-of-home care, which just means somewhere else other than at home. They could be living with family, friends or community members, and they could also be staying in a foster care placement or what they call residential care. They do say that wherever possible, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children will be placed with family or kin and community first before any other options are considered, and that during the 5 business day custody agreement that the Department for Child Protection might apply for additional time or longer court orders, and this is done through the youth court. It also mentions that you're entitled to seeking independent legal advice during this process, and that you can ask to have a support person with you during all conversations that you have with the department. If English is not your first language, you can ask for an interpreter or a translator. Here in South Australia, there's the Aboriginal Language Interpreting Service. This is operated through the Department for Human Services. Under the complaints section of this brochure, it explains that if you have any questions or concerns and you're not satisfied with your caseworker's response, that you can speak to their supervisor or their manager. If you're still unable to get a resolution, you can raise a complaint or feedback to the Complaints and Feedback Management Unit. This is actually inside of the Department for Child Protection, and I'll provide these details as well in the description of this video. The brochure also talks about official records and that they do keep records and information about you and your family. If you would like to access your information, you can just ask them for your information. If you're having difficulty in them releasing that information, you can always apply through the Freedom of Information Act 1982. And don't stress, I'm going to put some information about where you can find that act in the description of the video. And that's it. So thank you for coming. Thank you for visiting us here at Wonkylands Counselling. Hopefully you have a bit more of an understanding around what to do when the Department for Child Protection come to visit you now. And if there's anything in this video that didn't make sense, please do let me know. I'm happy to fill in the blanks. Just send me an email, make a phone call, or send me an inquiry on my website. Wonkylands Counselling is also located in Adelaide on Kaurna Country, so please do have a look, check out our website, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're on all of the things, and hopefully we'll be making more content like this soon. So I'll see you again soon.